Hello everyone. I'm Bindu Trikha, Assistant Professor, IMS Ghaziabad. Today in this video we would be discussing about the difference between object-oriented programming and procedure-oriented programming. Procedure-oriented programming, as the name suggests, it revolves around procedures, that is functions. Here the programs are divided into small parts called functions. In OOP, the program is divided into small parts known as objects. That is, OOP revolves around objects. Objects are the real world instances, or we can say it's an instance of a class. In POP, the data is not given much importance, whereas the importance is given only to the functions and the sequence of actions to be done. In POP, the importance is given to the data rather than procedures or functions. In POP, procedure-oriented programming, the data is left aside and the main concentration is only on the functions to be implemented. As soon as we get a project, we just try to emphasize what can be the various functions that I need to make, and I don't care about the data. Whereas in OOP, the first and foremost emphasis is given to the data. Herein, once the data is sorted out, then the procedures or the functions that work on this particular data are extracted. POP follows top-down approach. Top-down approach means that first we begin with the main function and then we decide what are the other functions that need to be implemented to complete the particular project. Whereas OOP follows bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach means here we first define the classes and the objects. Once the classes and objects are being finalized, we make up the project and implement those classes and objects into our main program. POP does not have any access specifier. Access specifier means a way to control the usage of the data. Here we don't have any access specifier, that means we don't have any control over the use of the data. Whereas in OOP, we have the access specifiers like public, private and protected. Public means the data is available to everybody, that is, it can be accessed outside the class as well. Private means the data cannot be accessed outside the class, that is, it is not available to everybody. And protected is a restricted access that is in between public and private. This protected access specifier we would be discussing in inheritance. In POP, data can move freely from function to function in the system. How the data can move freely? Say I have 4 functions and all the 4 functions use the same data. They require the same information. Now that this particular information, if is being accessed by 4 different functions, that means the data needs to be declared globally and needs to be accessed by all the functions. And since here we don't have any access specifier, the data is public and is freely available to every function. In OOP, objects can move and communicate with each other. Here the data is bound. The data cannot move freely because it is associated in a closed unit, that is packed in a closed unit, that is a class, and can be accessed through member functions only. In POP, it is not an easy task to add new data and functions, because once we have made a project, we have made a program, the program needs to be tested before implementation. And once a program is tested and the requirement changes, we need to have certain changes in the program. What are the various changes that we can do? We can change the functions. If the function is added to a program, the behavior of the function needs to be tested, that how it is working in relationship with other functions, with the main program. So the whole program needs to be tested again so as to implement the new details, and then it can be implemented. And again, if the requirement changes, we need to change the whole program, retest it, and then implement it. Whereas in OOP, once a project is being implemented or is being tested, uh, and then it is to be implemented, and any requirement changes come, we don't need to change the whole program. We just need to add the additional details of data and function with a class. This new class would be tested and implemented along with the already tested program. That is, to add new data and functions is much more easier in OOP. In POP, most functions uses global data. For sharing that can be accessed freely from function to function in the system. Since a number of functions are using the same data, the data needs to be kept in the global section, and once any data is in global section, that means it is accessible to each and every person. That means anybody can have a misuse or wrong usage of that particular data. Whereas in OOP, we have bound the data into a class and it cannot move easily. Moreover, we have kept the data in OOP in either in public sector or in private sector. Once the data is kept in private sector, we have full control on the access of the data. POP is less secure, that is, it does not have any proper way for hiding data because all the data is publicly available to every function in the program. Whereas OOP is more secure. We have the facilities of data hiding. Data hiding here means we can have our data in the private section so that it can't be accessed outside the class. In POP, overloading is not possible. Overloading means to have more than one usage of one function or one operator. In OOP, we have function overloading, we have operator overloading. Function overloading means that we can have same name functions, more than one same name functions with different parameters so that they can be accessed easily. But in POP, if I want to write two functions with the same name add, I can't do so. I don't have this permission to write two functions with the same name. Whereas in OOP, we can write two functions with the same name, and we have the option for operator overloading, wherein the operator overloading means an operator can be used for various different purposes that we'll discuss further in much detail in function overloading as well as in operator overloading. The examples of POP are C, VB, Fortran, and Pascal. And the examples of OOP are C++, Java, VB.NET, and C#.NET. Now you might be very much clear about the difference between POP and OOP and can judge also that which one is better. In today's current demand, wherein we have lots of data and we have lots of security issues, OOP is the first choice of every programmer. So this is all about the difference between OOP and POP. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.